Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be making a new video, and this video is going to be dedicated for some of you guys that really like tier lists. Again, as I said on my previous video, I am not a tier list guy. I don't really like tier lists, and especially for this game, because I think that they are pretty much irrelevant, and that whenever you are playing any games, you should always go for whatever you like, whatever is fun for you, because at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for in any game, right? We're looking to have fun. In any case, I'm going to be making a couple of tier lists here, and the purpose of this tier list is just to help you out a little bit. I'm going to be putting this more like as a guide for new players, for players who would like to build a physical or magical team, and for players that would like to figure out a little bit what's the meta for PvP, right? So that's going to be the purpose of this. So let's go with that, and I'm hoping this video is not that long as well, right? Because I'm going to be talking about 3 different tier lists. All right, so we're going to be starting with this one here, and this tier list, guys, that you can see is mostly for new players. You are a new player, you are still thinking what's going to be the best reroll. What are going to be those characters that I really would like to invest into when I'm just starting into the game, right? That's pretty much what this tier list is for. And as you can see here on the S tier, I'm going to be doing this, right, just so you guys know which character I'm talking about, right? I'm going to be hovering my mouse over them. This is RNS. It's a 3-star character that you can get for free. Very easy and simple to get, and she is insane because she gives you a 30% crit rate buff and 70% attack buff. So she's going to be an insane character that either early game or late game you are always going to be using her. Early game you also have a buffer here with Samai, not with this costume though. The high school costume, it will give you another buff of 50% attack and 50% magical damage, right? And also in the S rank for free to play is Liatris. I cannot stretch enough about how good is Liatris. I have been saying this in previous videos, and I have been making her the spotlight of all my many other videos as well, because she definitely is one of the strongest characters in the game. Now there is currently a Liatris banner. Should you roll for Liatris? No, don't. No. Please don't go and say, oh, Highlander said that I should be rolling for Liatris. Please don't do that. You can get one free copy of Liatris once you clear pack number 8, and that's totally enough. You don't need any more copies for the base costume of Liatris. Now, there is a banner for her weapon. Should you be rolling for her weapon? Yes, get her weapon. That would be insane, and it would increase your damage by a lot. Okay, so these are the characters that I consider S tier for new players, right? And also, these are the characters that you should be using mostly when it comes to like dealing damage, DPSers and things like that. Like this character also, I like to put it up here because I use this character a lot at the beginning when I was just starting on the game. And I think this character is actually very strong. But Wiggle is just insane. It's an amazing character that you are pretty much going to be using a lot, again, early and late game. So there is nothing wrong about investing on Wiggle and making sure that you bring him to the maximum level. And even when you are re-rolling, one of the best recommendations is to go for the UR weapon of Wiggle. Also, it's the same recommendation for Cry. Cry is a character that not only brings you the knockbacks, but he also has support abilities with defense breaking, and he has a very nice attacking tiles, right? So he attacks in the X pattern, right? And it's very good because most of the battles that you're going to be facing at the start of the game, you are going to be noticing that Cry is just the perfect guy to kill all the enemies just right away. And here is what's the name? Oh, Eleanor. Eleanor is one of the characters that I recommended for my previous video about what's the perfect reroll or what's the best reroll to go for. I think that Eleanor is definitely one character that you should be going for whenever you're rerolling. If you are lucky enough to get her, plus Cry weapon, plus Wiggle weapon, that's going to be like the perfect reroll, right? Like, I mean, the thing would be like Eleanor plus weapon, plus Cry weapon, plus wiggle weapon, right? But you may as well just not go for her and then just get like the UR weapon for this character that, if I'm not mistaken, her name is Astrid. I always forget the name of this character, so let me just make sure that I'm not saying something stupid. Where is even she? Oh, here she is. It's Ingrid. I had it wrong again. Alright, so her name is Ingrid, and she's very good as well. So you can get her UR weapon. That's going to be great as well. So this one, or even this one, right? What's the name of this one again? Wow. There are some characters that I've not been using for a long time. Emma. Okay, Emma is a nice character as well to have her weapon, because her weapon will give you double crit damage, and she will reach insane amount of crit damage, allowing you to one-shot a lot of enemies. Either hard or very hard content is very easy to clear with knockbacks, and she's one of those characters that have knockbacks abilities, right? All right. So I feel like the combination of characters, like you may have these two plus RNS on the same team, then you would have Cry and Wiggle, and that's already an insane team that would be working very, very fine. You would have a lot of buff, a lot of damage. You will be able to clear most of the content. If you don't want to set up your team like that, you may as well have RNS, Cry, Wiggle, Alieneer, and Samai on the same team as well. They cover a huge area of the map. Like at the start of the game, before you get to pack number 8 and you have Leatrice, I think that's going to be the best combination for the team. So, of course, I have here Layla, because Layla is again another character that you may be using early game, because she's light element. She gives you back SP, and she has the same attack pattern as the Cry, so she's very, very good. And Justia is just very strong character that you get for free, and there is no reason why you should not be going for her. She's definitely very good. And then all the other characters that you see down here, they are just in order, right, of like how good they may be. There is some utility and damage here. Damage that's very situational for characters like Gray. You have Rue for knockback. You have what's the name of this guy? I forgot. I have it in the tip of my tongue, but I forgot. Olstein. Yeah, you have Olstein, right? And then Olstein is a character that is here not because of his utility, because he's pretty much useless. You just use him for like very, very specific scenarios where you need some particular silence. But aside from that, I don't really see him to be the star in anywhere. But it is always good to get him, because Olstein would give you what is this called? The search ability, right? That is going to be constantly giving you slimes, gold, and other things. Like that's why I forgot also to put Diana. Diana should also be here, because you can get Diana as a free to play, and both of these characters and Leatrice, these 3 scrolls, the rainbow scrolls that you get for recruiting 5-star characters, these are the 3 characters where you need to be given the priority on recruiting, especially because Diana gives you diamonds and she also gives you ability pills. So both of them are very, very important to go for. Again, knockbacks with Emma. You have here, I forgot the Lucretia, I think that's her name, for SP recovery, and you have some tanks here that you may be using, some additional damage as well, and then all of the rest is down here because they are not as useful when you are a new player, and they may be very, very situational. And also you will be noticing that all of these characters are magical, or at least most of them are magical, and the reason why I'm putting magic units in the bottom of the line is because at the start of the game, which you're new, you really don't have the tools to build a reliable magical team. That's why the tier list is set up like this. Yes, I didn't went name by name, but these are characters that you're going to have if you're starting on the game, because I'm not including 5-star characters that you cannot get easily right at the start of the game. Probably Celia, right, that you need to recruit her, but you will see Celia during this story, so you will get to know her and how to use her as well. So that's why I'm adding those characters here. While Gray as well, it's the same thing, you get it for free. So yeah. Now we come here now to the more advanced guy, right? This is a more advanced guy where you have to have some specific characters for it to actually work. In Brown's 2, supports are kings and queens. Like supports are the best characters because they are the ones that enables you to actually deal damage and to actually being able to clear the content. So that's why I have all of the supports in the top. And the most important supports are, of course, I'm going by with physical team before magical team because the order is important is that the more to the left a character is, the stronger I consider it, right? And you would say, hey, but why then are you considering physical team to be better than magical team? Because all the physical characters are in the left side and the magical team characters are in the right side. Well, it's simple, guys. It's because, again, it's way easier as a new player or even as an old player. It's way easier to build a physical team right away than to go with a magical team. Especially because you need Helena rank B idol, right? If you don't have her, yes, you still can build a magical team, but it's not going to be as good as a physical team because you're going to be lacking a lot of damage and a lot of crit rate. Okay, there are some replacements for Helena, but you still would need to have the costume. And if you're new, or if you probably have a couple of months playing, maybe you missed that costume already, which is going to be the costume for Rue. I think I forgot the name of that costume because I don't really use that costume a lot. It's going to be this one in costumes, and it's this one here. Red Hat Rue. And the reason for this costume is because this costume gives you crit rate, right? So you may combine this costume with characters like what's the name? Sylvia? No, it's not Sylvia. Samai, right? Samai is to give you 50% magical damage, and then you kind of make a pseudo Helena there, right? But you require two characters to make to have the the benefits of only one, and that's definitely not good. All right, so now we come back here, and again, supports Ines, of course, easy to get. She's here. And is in this position because of that, because she's easy to get. You always have her available, and you don't really have to have been playing for a long time to be able to get a good RNS with you. Diana, free to get, easy to get as well, free to play friendly, an insane character, but the problem with her is that she is not as usable, or she's more conditional, right? Because for her buff to actually work, you need to be attacking an enemy that is weaker to your element. So that's why I'm putting her second to RNS. And then I have Lateral here, which doesn't have a crit buff, but he have an attack buff. But the problem is, again, you need to have the costume, and the costume already, you probably missed the costume already, and there is no other way to get it, right? So if you have it, then that's why I'm putting it here. Then, of course, for magical team, best support is going to be Helena. Second best support is going to be Celia, even though Celia is actually a good support for physical damage as well, because she's a support that is based on providing you with chain damage. And of course, Samai, that you may or may not use during using your magical team, right? Then when it comes to damage dealers, right? I'm having as physical damage dealers, Leatrice again, insane character. That's why I always consider her to be one of the strongest. Rue is here mostly because she have pretty decent costumes to deal damage now, and she also have an insane costume with great utility for crit rate and also shields. And then we have characters like Sylvia that has 3 costumes that are very strong, and that they have like a very, very nice what is this called? Synergy, right? They have a very, very nice synergy, and she's definitely an insane character to use for PvE content, as well as Rubia, very, very insane. She has insane tiles, she has self buff, and of course, if you have the costume, right? Because the list that you are looking at here, guys, this list, I'm considering all of the costumes for the character to position them where they are. Then we have Ventana here, pretty much almost one of the. I mean, I may move Ventana to the end here, and I go with Yuri and Anastasia first, because these are characters that they would work by themselves without any problems, but Ventana requires conditions to be used. Yes, she deals insane amount of damage, but she requires conditions to work. So that's why she's here at the end. Now, for magical team, of course, Angelica is the strongest magical DPSer that is currently in the game. Probably she's being overshadowed a little bit by Eclipse, because the new costume for Eclipse is actually very, very strong, and it has a lot of utility, giving you SP back. You have Scheherazade that have a million costumes, right? She have many, many, many costumes, and what makes Scheherazade so good is that she also brings utility with removing buff from the enemies, and she have costumes that have very low SP cost and deal insane damage. You also have Dalby, that's a pretty good character on her own, because the only costume that she has, you can reuse it for 3 turns in a row, which is already very, very insane. You have Nartes, that is more like a nuker, same as Ventana. It requires a condition of the enemy being of a specific type of damage for you to actually be able to deal the most amount of damage, right? So that's why, again, is on the end. And we have Wiggle. Wiggle is still very strong, and you may as well still be using Wiggle for PvE content, even if you are late game, even for the very hard content, because he deals a lot of damage with both of his costumes. Then for utility, this is mostly utility, and when I say utility, I say SP recovery, knockbacks, and yeah, other buff, or characters that are good for damage but are not as good as the characters that I have on the A rank, right? We start with the battery here. The best battery is definitely Eclipse, right? But if you don't have Eclipse, and I mean Eclipse to the new costume for Eclipse, right? If you don't have Eclipse, the best battery is definitely Lucretia. Lucretia is insane. I've been using her a lot for the bosses, which she pretty much give you back all of the SP that you have used. We have characters that also give you SP back, like Layla. We have knockback in defense break with Cry. We have what is this called? Buff removal with Alieneer. You have insane damage with Justia, but it's not as good as damage that can crit, right? So that's why she's here. Gray, that may or may not be good depending on the situation and depending on how many costumes you have, right? He's definitely good. Don't get me wrong, but he depends a lot on if the enemy has a lot of attack or a lot of magical attack for they to receive a lot of damage. You have this character that Elise, that she defense and magic breaks the enemies, right? So she reduces defense and magical resistance. Really good, but pretty complicated to use. I mean, that's why I don't really think this character is that good. We have knockbacks with Thursday. We have knockbacks with Emma. We have Zenith for focusing the enemies. We have this girl that I forgot her name again. What's the name of that character? Rafina. Okay, so we have Rafina. Rafina is a character that's hard to get, because the costume that is very good on her is the other costume, because that costume has defense break. Again, pretty hard to use because it's an escape ability, but it's still good. And we also have characters like Olstein again, that is here just because of the niche silence plus speed recovery plus dispatchability. And we even have this 3-star character here. Her name is fuck, I forgot. What's the name? Reunite. Oh, okay, I forgot now. Her name is Reunite, right? And Reunite is a character that does the same thing as Zenith, but the problem with her is that the cooldown is longer for her skill, but the duration of the focusing is also longer. It lasts for 6 turns. We have tanks here, and I think that for PvE content, the best tanks are going to be the ones that I have here, and in this particular order. I have Ser to be a better tank because she has a costume that gives you a lot of SP back. So if you play Ser well, you don't need a battery for your team, and you already have a strong tank available as well. Definitely one of the best tanks in the game now is going to be Grandhilder. She's very, very strong, and the new costume for her, which again you can get for free, is very, very strong as well. very strong, deals a lot of damage. We have Glacia that can be one of the best tanks because she can reach 90% defense and 90% magical resistance, as well as she revives by herself. So she's pretty much immortal, and she's going to be very good for very hard content, or for the tower that have the 100 floors. She's definitely going to be one of the best pieces there. Then we have this character that's going to be Leclis. Leclis is an attacking tank. She counters with the Android Queen costume, and she deals a lot of damage. And then we have 4-star Andrew that is very strong. He evades, and he's going to be one of the characters that you're going to be using a lot for very hard content. We have Carlson. Carlson is very good. He is a decent tank that is definitely going to be good enough for you to survive. And we also have Fred that has knockbacks, and that he's also a decent tank. And all of these characters at the end here deal decent damage, but are overshadowed by all of the 5-star characters, of course, which are definitely going to be way better than them. But there are characters that are still definitely very strong down here. And as you can see, there is also another character that's down here that's going to be Alec. He's a 5-star, but still down here. And I consider Alec to be down here due to he being very hard to get, and not as good and as usable with only one dupe. You actually need to have 3 dupes on him for he to be able to actually work fine. The video is already long. It's 21 minutes video, and I'm pretty sure you guys probably not going to be watching all of this. But I'm going to be making sure that I add timestamps at the bottom, so that you guys can at least know which characters I'm talking about, or what tier list I'm covering. Last tier list, and this is a tier list that in which I may or may not be wrong. This is a tier list that is more focused on PvP. And when it comes to PvP, I notice that magical team is actually better. Of course, you need to have the characters to build the team, right? But magical teams is actually better than physical team, because the utility that you have with magical units is better than the one that you have with physical units. The area of attacks is also better as well, especially for characters like Eclipse or Chehersei that always remove the buff from the enemies, right? And with characters like Grand Hill now in place, if you have a good Chehersei, then you can remove the buff from Grand Hill. You don't have anything to worry about. And we have also here the buffers, of course, right? Helena, Rue being a great buffer for PvP because she gives you a barrier, she gives you a crit rate, and she herself deals a lot of damage. Lato being a great buffer for PvP because he's only giving you attack. And when it comes to PvP, you actually need to bring characters that are more balanced in regards to crit rate, crit damage, so that they have enough damage to kill, right? But that they are not so dependent on physical on crit rates. The problem here is that Arenas is not as good as a support as Helena is for magical team, because Helena not only give you 50% crit rate, she also give you a lot of magical damage, and she heals. And not only that, she also has another costume that the damage reductions your entire team, and that give you SP back. So there is no point of comparison between Helena and Arenas when it comes to supporting you in PvP. Of course, for damage dealers, you would have characters like how do I forget the name suddenly? I just said the name before. Angelica. Yes, you have characters like Angelica that are very strong, that have many different costumes, that don't use a lot of HP, and yeah, that's pretty much the reason why I have her here. But of course, Eclipse, I think, is going to be the strongest one right now. Her costume just decimates an entire team of characters, even if you have a lot of magical resistance. I don't know what is it that they did with this character, but this character is just crazy strong. And of course, we have Chehersei, we have Dalby as well, that is pretty decent for PvP. And we also have Celia, that again, very good for PvP, because she has multi-hits and chain damage, would allow you to ignore a little bit of the insane amount of magical resistance that people in normal have on PvP. Then you see that Alec is appearing here on the physical damage side of PvP, and the reason why is because he is true damage, same as Justia. And I noticed one of the things that I'm using right now and that I'm working on making it work, because right now I'm not being able to make it work, is I'm using Lato for buffing. Turn 1, he only used 1 SP. I use Justia with the Blood Glut on the skin that only used 2 SP, that's 3. So I still have 2 SP more that I can use. And with those 2 SP, I would be able to use Eleanor base costume to remove the buff from Grand Hill and ensure that I will still be able to kill her and remain alive for the second turn, or that I don't waste all of my attacks on Grand Hill on the first turn, right? So that's why I want to build these 3 particular characters, because they are going to be like the core of my team. First turn attacking using their 3 abilities, and that would allow me to pretty much, if I'm, you know, well positioned, I would definitely be able to kill at least between 3 to 4 enemies on turn 1. Or, no, sorry, 3 to 2 enemies on turn 1, depending on the positioning of the enemy, right? And you also have here Beatrice. She's very strong. She has 2 costumes that are really, really good for PvP. The base costume and the Neon Stalker costume. Both of them are really, really good for PvP. The other one I don't recommend it as much, because you would, you would depend on the enemy having a continuous damage for it to actually work. It may be useful for, like, I don't know, tier 3rd turn for PvP. With every battle on PvP should normally end on turn number 3 or cycle 3, because it's going to be, this is different, right? Because it's your turn, the enemy turn. Yeah. Anyways, let me just not get confused there. We have Sylvia, insane character, defense capabilities on PvP with self buff, shields, and counter. She's very good. You need to work around it, but she's definitely very good. Rubia, very good. She has defense break, and with the new potential system, she even gets more defense break, which make her really, really good for PvP. And you have Yuri here. Yuri, I just put her because put her there because she's actually decent. I mean, she has self buff. She deals a good amount of damage, so she might be good for PvP. Not the best character for PvP though, but he may find their uses. Same as Rafina, right? Rafina, I have seen a lot of people using Rafina for PvP because, again, defense break is really, really, really strong on PvP because people has an insane amount of defense. So yeah, these characters are definitely good for PvP. Now for tanks and utility characters, we have here. Oh well, I have Diana as a tank here because she definitely can have a lot of HP and can reach 90% magical resistance without any problems, and she gives you a area of fed HP barrier, which can be really, really good for PvP depending on how you're building your team. Of course, Grand Hill is going to be the new queen of PvP as a tank. She is able to withstand an insane amount of damage, and she also deals massive amount of, you guys don't know the amount of times that I have lost to a Grand Hill now because she just dealing crazy amount of damage. Glacia again, 90% defense, 90% magical resistance makes her an insane tank for PvP. And Leklis, she counters, she's very good. Sarah may not be as useful, but she's still very good for PvP. If you need a tank, if you need to have a defense team, right, for your defense team, not for your attacking team, she may be useful. Cry is still very, very insane for PvP, for the knockbacks and for the defense breaks. So he's definitely very good. I may as well just move Cry all the way up here because he's still very, very good, and I am currently using him for my team because you can definitely kill enemies turn 1, at least 2 enemies or 1 enemy with Cry turn 1. And Teresige is more like probably useful, probably not character. And I don't even know why I put this guy here because it's garbage. But this girl is probably an option as well because depending on the positioning, you may be able to silence most of the enemy team, and the silence for this character lasts for a long time. If you're able to land a good silence, you're not only going to be getting your SP bar to be full, but you're also going to be disabling the attacks of pretty much 3 characters, 2 to 3 characters of the enemy team. So yeah, it just all depends on what you have. And let me just conclude with this, guys. tier lists for Brown Dust 2 are constantly changing because the game is constantly changing. PvP may be better um, whenever to use fire characters whenever the season of fire is active, because fire enemy characters deal more damage. Um, and for PvE as well, whenever the theme boss is light element, then dark element characters are going to be stronger. Whenever fiend boss is wine element, right? Wind element, then fire characters are stronger because there is Season of Fire, they deal more damage, and they are definitely going to be good to use. Is Season of Fire, of course, you're not going to be using Leclis, because then Leclis is going to die right away, because the enemy is not only going to be having the elemental advantage, but they are also going to be having the buff from the fire system. So it changes constantly. That's why I am telling you guys that tier list for this game vary too much, like way too much. So in any case, guys, this is going to be everything. I've been speaking for a long time now. This is a 30 minutes video, way longer than what I wanted to make, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm just making sure that I cover everything regarding tier list, or at least the most important things that you would like to know about tier list. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and if you're liking the content, please consider subscribing. I'm going to be putting the link for this tier list maker so that you guys can use it, and probably you may answer me, hey Highlander, you're actually an idiot, because I think that this tier list is actually better, and that's completely valid, because at the end of the day, a tier list, it all depends on how you view things, right? And you may view things different way than I do, right? Or I may be completely wrong. Why not? Maybe I'm not so up to date when it comes to the meta for PvP, and maybe this is just complete and utter garbage. It may be, right? I'm also not a well, and I think when it comes to PvP, the only thing that matters is being a well, having the specific characters that you can build, and looking the interaction between whales in the top ranking. I mean, I have not been able to see that, to be honest, because I'm always hovering between Diamond 1 and the next run after that I don't even know how it is called. In any case, again, thank you so much, guys. Consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and leave a comment. I'll always answer your comments. See you in the next one. Peace.